I know my mom, I always kind of joke around and say, she at the time that I was coming up was just financially literate enough to be dangerous, because there were some decisions I made, even with my student loan borrowing in school and repayment afterwards, that in hindsight, knowing what I know now as a financial educator, I would have made much different decisions.
Welcome to For the Health of It, Because You Can, where host Susan Robinson dives into the 8 categories of wellness with experts from various fields. We offer tips and information to help you thrive in all areas of individual wellness.
So, Sarah, I was on the website the other day, Oklahoma Money Matters, and when I saw what all was on there, I was absolutely excited about this resource for people. And I know that you're an outreach specialist, which means what?
Well, it is a couple of words. It means a whole lot of things. So I spend most of my day actually traveling the state of Oklahoma, going to colleges and talking to students. OKMM is actually we're a part of the Oklahoma College Assistance Program, which is actually a part of the Regents for Higher Education. And so our kind of main focus has always been college students, but we help, anyone who needs it. And so outreach specialist means mostly I spend a lot of time in the car driving around and talking to students about, their finances. But we also work with businesses, state agencies, really anybody who needs us to come speak, we'll come out and we'll talk. We have those resources on the website that we're going to talk about.
Right. So does that mean that if an agency wanted to have you come speak, you would come to their agency and speak? Okay, yep. Good. Yep. Aren't you glad the pandemic's over? I love the face-to-face presentations for sure. So first I wanted to talk about budgeting, planning, repaying student loans. Those are the topics that I think are really hot right now, especially with what's going on, nationwide and everything, kind of that hot topic political-wise and everything. But the website offers a variety of resources. And when I saw the different categories, I was like, excellent. This is so great. So let's knock them off one by one.
Okay.
So, hi, this is Sara Lorenzen, and she is from Oklahoma Money Matters, and she's told you that they are part of the State Regents for Higher Ed, which is an agency. And but this is great what you offer. So it said students. So this could be any age student?
It can be. Most of our resources are for students are geared toward high school and college. I am the one who normally kind of focuses on our college students. I have a colleague whose name is also Susan, and she focuses a lot on our high school students. So she'll go talk to them about paying for college and that kind of thing, budgeting while they're in school and making smart money choices after school and that kind of thing.
I was talking with somebody the other day about this, that they ought to make that a curriculum, part of school curriculum, even starting, I think, even in elementary school, about just introducing basic finances and teaching kids how to think about money rather than just it being somewhere out there that mom and dad have and stuff like that. So I love that. So then you also have a section about parents. Mm-hmm. So what are you teaching the parents?
So parents, a lot is, teaching children about money, planning and paying for college, those types of things. Versus, and we focus more on the actual teaching their children about money in the parents section. I know we'll talk about it here in a second, but in our consumer section is where we talk more about the stuff, mom and dad are going to need to know about how to budget and manage credit and that kind of thing. But we focus a lot in the parent section on just how to teach your kids about money.
Okay. And so that next section was consumers, and I know that goes into quite a bit. And that's where my friend said I guess you spoke maybe at ODOT, and she said this was about budgeting. She thought it was great. So what all kind of do you talk about in that presentation?
In that section of the website, we cover just about everything. But in our different presentations, it kind of depends on what the agency that needs us to come out wants us to talk about. But we talk about budgeting. I think in that presentation that your friend was talking about, I'm pretty sure we were talking about goal setting and budgeting. So it was sort of a 2-for-1 presentation, and we were talking about how to set SMART goals for yourself, whether that be financial or not. And then if it is financial, kind of how to use a budget and make yourself reach your goals with while using a budget, and kind of how to do that.
Right. So then I saw campus professionals. And are you guys moving toward trying to make a case to get that offered in, on the college level about finances and making that kind of the literacy on financial matters and financial terms? And
that's a great question. So I wouldn't necessarily say that we are making a push. Nationally, there's really been a push because of student loan borrowing and some of the problems that have arisen that, if you've watched the news, you're kind of aware of what's going on with student loan borrowing. And, so there has been a big push for literacy. Here in Oklahoma, we do actually have the Passport to Financial Literacy, which is financial literacy standards for high school students, things that they have to learn before they graduate. But there's not anything in place for college students per se, but there are a lot of the universities who have been trying to integrate that in different ways on their campus, whether that is, there are some of the campuses here in the state that have full programs with like financial coaches to help walk the students through budgeting their money while they're in school and monitoring their student loan balances and kind of preparing for repayment after they graduate. And having those actual kind of like case managers who can help them one-on-one, to even just having someone like me come out on campus and speak to different programs, talking on their freshman orientations. And it kind of depends on the campus, but there has been a lot of push nationally and here in Oklahoma where we're starting to move towards having that. So with our campus professionals, my job is sort of twofold. We do a lot of presentations to students. Like I was actually just in Poto at Carl Albert State College earlier last week. And then I'll actually be in Tulsa tomorrow at OSU Center for Health Sciences. So we do quite a bit of traveling and talking to students. But one of the things that we do is we can actually kind of consult with the campus professionals to help them kind of figure out what that looks like on their campus, whether that is they are trying to build a program and they're trying to sort of figure out what that looks like and what things that needs to entail, or they're just wanting to, host an event on campus and they're wanting help putting that together. That's kind of the stuff that we do with that.
Is it kind of like through new student orientation? To me, that would be a great time.
It really depends on the campus. We do. I go up to NSU every year and up in Tahlequah, and I talk to their students, freshman orientation, on top of what they're doing. And I have several other schools that I do the same. But it really just depends on what works for their campus, because every student is different and every campus is different, how they run things, what their funding is, what they have. So, we just sort of work with them to see what we can do to help, whether that is creating, I've done where we've created like mini videos about different things that they can like put on Canvas or something to make part of a curriculum, or just, recorded a webinar. Like we do a webinar every month that's, free to register for, and it's a different financial topic every month. And, we have that to where they can take that recording and share it with their students, or they can send that link out if their students want to take time during their lunch hour and watch that.
Make it an assignment. That's what I would do.
They can. We do have some of the grant programs, like the TRIO programs that are through some of the schools that actually will require their students to check in, and then they'll check in with me to make sure that the students were actually there.
I know that's probably to students, many of them don't think about finances during that time. Because I remember back when I was not raised to think about that, in my home. And so I think that a program like that would have been wonderful, especially before newlyweds get married. I mean, I got married right out of high school. And that was kind of the tradition way back then. And so anyway, it was just learning about simple financial things, little things you can do. I mean, I've heard a presentation one time about how giving up Starbucks, this was how much money you'd have at the end of so many years. And it was like almost $1 million. Can you believe we're spending that on coffee? Anyway, so the next section, it said community organizations and event planning tips. Is this for nonprofits? Is this for anybody wanting to host an event, or what involves that?
That is put out there really because we do work with some nonprofits. We've worked with a few. We've worked with just off the top of my head since I've been there, Urban League. We've worked with some of the community action agencies, just helping do training for them, whether that be different programs they have. We'll come out and we'll teach classes for them. So that's kind of where that comes from. And it is kind of an all-encompassing thing because, we want to be there. We are a free resource. We don't charge to come out. It's just kind of subject to our availability when we make it out. But we're just kind of there to help. If people need us to come out and we're available to do it, then we're happy to do that. And as far as the event planning tips, I think that's just really some people have this great intention that they want to put these events together because it is something that's very valuable to the community, but it is also something that not a lot of people talk about, or they talk about and maybe they don't know what they're talking about. I don't necessarily mean that in a bad way, but they may not have. They may have some information. There's a lot of kind of talking heads out there in personal finance as far as like, this is what you do with this, or this is what you do with that. And I think sometimes it can get bogged down and confusing. And so one of the things that we sort of pride ourselves on is just being able to give you the basic tools to really understand kind of how the system works so you can make your own decisions from there.
Right. So getting back to employees, and I know it said employers, and that's where I saw the Financial Friday thing. Mm-hmm. I think it would be such a great idea for employers or different agencies to have you come and talk to their employees because, every day you see it on the news about inflation and how people are just really having to go almost penny to penny, I'm saying paycheck to paycheck. So what's the success been? Like, how can these programs help somebody who is struggling like that?
That's a great question. So we have that section geared towards employers for that purpose, to bring us in to talk to their employees, because statistically, employees are more productive if they feel like they're secure in their finances. That's why even employee assistance programs exist, because they're feeling secure, in their life, and it's there to support employees. And so us coming in and speaking would kind of be the same thing of helping provide those tools for employees to understand what is a budget, how do you make that work, how do you prioritize what needs to be paid when, how to spend that, how to really understand what credit or your credit report or like what that is, what that's used for. The different things that you may be doing that can maybe making it better or worse. And so I think it's really important. And it definitely, we've seen success in employees just even understanding the basics, because that is something that not a lot of people were just inherently taught how to do.
Right.
And even if we were taught how to do it, I know my mom, I always kind of joke around and say, she at the time that I was coming up was just financially literate enough to be dangerous, because there were some decisions I made, even with my student loan borrowing in school and repayment afterwards, that in hindsight, knowing what I know now as a financial educator, I would have made much different decisions. And so I think it's important just to have them have that understanding, because even if maybe say you're in a situation where your bills are outnumbering your money at that particular time, having the knowledge to be able to go, okay, I'm going to put this budget together. I'm going to have these strategies to cut these things out, or I'm going to learn how to do a debt snowball to pay things off. It helps you feel like you're more in control of the situation, even if financially you're kind of all over the map at the moment. It helps you sort of gain that sense of self-control over the situation to where you can improve the situation.
Yeah. One of the things that was said on the news report is that credit card debt is at an all-time high. Yeah. And I was like, wow.
I believe that.
And that's just people, again, some of it is that need to have something and, let me satisfy that need right now, without really thinking through it. I've learned to take my shopping cart at a clothes store like TJ Maxx, so I'm a Maxxinista, anyway, and go through and then make me think about it again. I was like, is this just a want or do I really need this?
Yeah.
And I've gone back and put things back. So
yeah, I do the same thing with my Amazon cart.
Yeah.
I'll put it in there and leave it for 24 hours and come back and see what I actually need.
Yeah. I totally get that. But anyway, if an agency is interested in having you come and speak, how do they reach you?
Well, they can email us. We actually have a initiative email. It's oklahomamoneymatters@ocap.org, OCAP.org. Or you can go to our website, oklahomamoneymatters.org. And our contact information is on there, so you can reach out to either myself or my colleague Susan directly, depending on what you're, looking for. If you're not sure what you're looking for, you can reach out to our generic, the Oklahoma Money Matters at OCAP, and we'll figure out where you need to go and who you need to talk to.
It's pretty, your website, because I tend to struggle navigating through websites, but yours was actually very open, very clear what you could do and offer, and I love it. I'm glad that this is a resource that is available to our employees and their families. So on the newsletter content, is that online or do people have to sign up for that?
So we have a couple of newsletters that go out from OKMM. So we have Financial Friday, which that is it's a question and answer forum. So we take questions that are submitted, and if we'll usually do one question a month about a different topic. I think this last month was actually children and allowances. We've done, I'm just trying to think of some of the random ones that I've done over the last few years. Refund anticipation loans for taxes. We had one about whether you should get pet insurance or not. And then some basic ones, like someone asked about what the public service loan forgiveness program is, or I got into too much debt after the holidays. How do I go about starting to pay that off? And so we just, kind of pick the best question that's submitted out of that group, and we try to get to all of them eventually, but we'll answer that question and then that goes out. We do have a sign up it's the Oklahoma College Assistance Programs page. And you can sign up to receive our newsletters, or if you can't find that page, you're welcome to email us and we'll send you the link so you can sign up for that to receive Financial Friday. We also have a newsletter that is just financial literacy resources. So if you're trying to, it's geared a little bit more towards teachers and maybe people who are interested in personal finance, because it deals a lot more with our resources versus like actual financial information. Yeah. And it's called the OKMM Outlook. And that one you can sign up for as well. And then we have a blast that goes out about our Make It Count webinar, which is that webinar I mentioned earlier. And it goes out, the webinar is the third Tuesday of every month at lunch. And on our news page, but also we have a email blast that goes out every month that sort of announces what that month's topic is going to be.
Okay. This is great resources. I am so glad that I had you as a guest to talk about this. And like I said, Thrive will do all we can to promote what you guys offer. And this way it's offered to not only the employees, but their family members. And this is a good way to get the family involved in financial wellness, thinking of their financial well-being. So Anyway, I appreciate you being here. I hope everybody has a great day, and we will see you next podcast.
Thank you for listening to For the Health of It. For more wellness tips, information, and videos, visit the Thrive webpage. For questions, contact us at thrive@omes.ok.gov.